Hello everyone, welcome back to the shop. Today I'm going to take and show everybody how to take and bend metal the hard way. Recently I got a commission, which I get oftentimes, to make a skillet handle, or more specifically a French skillet. French skillets, they have two handles on each side, horseshoe-like shaped. This is a pretty good skill to learn. It's great on a lot of decorative ironwork that you may encounter out there. It'll be a pretty short video other than me talking here on the first part here. Got a few real quick tips to take and share with you, and hopefully this helps you all out there, and I appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoy the rest of it. Before we begin this little project of bending a handle the hard way, or bending steel the hard way, there's a few things to understand about what is actually taking place on the material when you're exerting these forces. So the first thing I would like to talk about is the metal does two things. It's not in a constant state. It's doing several things at once. So when you're bending metal the hard way, or bending any metal, the inside of the bend is compressing, or otherwise getting shorter and thicker, as where the outside of the bend is stretching, or otherwise elongating and thinning down. So that's the first crucial element to kind of understand what's going on with your bend. And as you'll see when we start this bend on this skillet handle, you're going to see it want to take and do some kind of weird things on you. And a lot of guys, you know, you'll have this problem. It's normal. It happens. There's nothing you're doing wrong with it. It wants to take and bend and go crooked. A lot of it in the same way, which I'll do a video on maybe later on, about upsetting. But whenever you upset a piece of steel, you know, you're encountering a lot of resistance, and you have to apply a lot of force to take and get it to push back in amongst itself. And so when you do that, it wants to travel the path of least resistance. And so as long as you keep that in mind, you'll realize real quick that what you're doing is okay. It's just the steel trying to fight you. There's a real simple method of working with this, and when you encounter this problem, one of the most common things is it'll want to bow in this direction. Let me see here, make sure you're on the camera. Yeah, okay, you're still in focus here a little bit. Hopefully I'm talking soft enough. I know I got a pretty loud voice. So, essentially, it'll want to take and bend, not in the direction you're wanting it to go. It'll want to arch this way instead. So that's something to take into effect when you're bending your piece up, that you don't want that bend to go too far. So in the next clip, I'll go ahead and bring out a piece of steel that I already got in the forge, and it's hot and ready to go, and I will take and show you how to bend the hard way. But as long as you understand essentially what the material is doing, you can tell it what you want it to do. So anyways, next step, we'll get to it. Alright everyone, I've got this piece heated up here. I'm out of frame on this thing, but I want you to take note that I've got this piece pretty nice and hot. For any of you beginners out there, this is imperative to just good ironwork to keep your pieces nice and hot and relatively scale-free when you go to whacking on it and stuff. This isn't an important step, but I did it anyhow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it on the apex of the horn of the anvil, and using my rawhide mallet, I'm going to hit it. As you can see, these tongs don't fit it that well, but I'm going to hit it right over the apex here. And what we're not trying to do is we're trying not to forge this out, we're just trying to bend it. So I did that in another video. I showcased that. Oh, I forget which video it is now that I'm talking about it. I did it in a video where I showed you, I believe it was the coil spring video. In the coil spring video, I showed you how handy a rawhide mallet could be. And in other videos I showed you that, you know, like making a ring and whatnot, this is all I use to take and bend over the horn of the anvil. There are occasions where I'll go to a hammer if I need to move some material around, but when I'm bending something over the horn of the anvil, rawhide mallet is what I use. This just helps conform the piece to the steel underneath, but not dink up or hammer mark the top. Once again, we're not trying to draw this out, we're just trying to take and bend this. So I'll take another heat on this and I'll come back with a little better fitting tongs. Excuse me for not having those to begin with. I'll come back with a little better fitting tongs and show you how this works. Alright, another good hot heat here. I switched to a pair of hot tongs for farriers. Once again, you know, we're working what looks like a horseshoe, so might as well, right? Just hitting on the apex. This again is not forging this out. This is just bending. So that's what we're wanting, okay? But as you can see here, it's starting to try to get a little wonky. Let me look at the camera. Yeah, I think you guys can see that a little bit. But you can see that it's wanting to take and twist on me and stuff. It doesn't want to do that. You quickly just come over to the anvil, give it a few pops, and since you're using a rawhide mallet, you don't have to worry about ruining anything that you've already done on it previous. You don't have to worry about leaving any hammer marks. And plus, if you hear that pop, it makes a nice way of popping off scale as well to leave yourself a really clean piece. So I don't know if you can see that there. Sorry guys, the focus got a little fuzzy on me there for a second. As I was saying, I had to clip out, come back to this other clip here. Man, it's kind of tough filming this stuff by yourself, but yeah, I'm giving it my best go here, trying to show you guys what's going on. But anyways, I don't know if you can see right there, it leaves the surface pretty clean, and we're making a pretty nice even arc. And as you can tell on that edge, hopefully, you know, you're not seeing a whole lot of hammer marks there. And that's what we want. You know, we want a really nice clean forging. If you can look just a little bit into this, I don't know if you can see it there. See how there's a bit of a ridge there? So I had forged pretty much a facet. So almost like a teardrop shape. See if we can get that into view. Anyway, something like that. I forged pretty much a teardrop shape on it, or a blade-like shape to this handle. And then, you know, that's going to become the outside of the handle, and the inside, the thicker portion, is going to be the inside of the handle, clearly. Anyways, so I'm going to clip out here again. I'm going to go to the next clip, and in the next clip I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to show you in closer detail, like I'm doing here, what's going on as we shape it. I hope this helps. A lot of guys, when you're trying to make hard bends, you know, the hard way, like I said, this can be used in so many things, other than just making handles and whatnots. One thing to point out is the way I had these gripped in here is like this. So essentially, I was bracing that bit there, the extra bit, on the tong portion itself. So that way, every time that I hit down here, if it wanted to move up any, it had to push against the tong. It had to push right up against the tong itself. And so to take and move on from here, we just flip it around. Excuse me. Flip it around. Hold from the other end, doing the same exact thing, and working down on the horn of the anvil. If you hit your material while it's cold, or even while it's hot, and hit clear out here, you're going to notice something happen. If you see that bounce like that, that's a bad thing. The reason why is because you're going to feel that in your hand, and that's bad. You know, this will affect your wrists at a later date if you were to continue doing that. So please use caution on that. Kind of be mindful of your body first, and then what the steel is doing. Always take good care of yourself. Because like I said, if you're hitting here, I don't know if you can see my wrist jarring like that, you take a couple thousand of those a day, and eventually you won't have wrists that are worthwhile anyhow. So we'll go to the next clip. I'll bend this other bit around with this close thing, and then that'll pretty much conclude the video. And I'll just go on making this other set of handles. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, who stuck this far. You'll see it in the next, we'll go on to this next video slide here and see what we can do with this. Get you guys a little closer angle. Alright, here we are again. Let's see here. There we go. Like I said before, I'm holding the tongs very nice and stiff, and I'm just working progressively like that with this rawhide mallet. I'm working around this first graduation of the horn of the anvil, but as you can see, that's coming on around there nice and easy, and that's what we want. There's enough things in forging. It's pretty strenuous as it is. Any methods you guys can pick up out there, even if it doesn't make sense at first, try a method. Try a guy's method. Walk a mile in his shoes first before you go on to say maybe his ideals aren't worth anything. I haven't exactly encountered that here on my channel just yet. I'm sure I will. But at least try a guy's methods first and see if they work for you. If they work for you and it's handy, then, do that, and incorporate it in your own work. I'm a bit of a style gypsy, so, if you know what you're talking about and I don't, I'm more than happy to listen. If I know what I'm talking about and you don't, I'm more than happy to teach. As where I hope anybody is. As you can see, that gives a pretty good clean result. In fact, a lot of this method that I learned here, I used to bend, let's give a little backdrop here. So there was a farrier that came to SOFA, or Southern Ohio Forge and Anvil, which I'm the editor of the newsletter there. At one of the club's monthly meetings, there was a farrier that came and gave us a little bit of a different slice, a different take on how, to do some forging. He made like a little swan boat thing, and then he also forged a shoe. And although some of my skills are maybe a little more advanced than his are, or I feel or perceive they were, he's been doing farrieing for a long time. And from what I saw, I was able to glean this little tidbit of information. I used to take and hammer out here, and then, it jerked my hand around, and I hated bending things the hard way, and I'd always try to find ways of using jigs and stuff. But I watched him bend this shoe, and he was just hitting it right on the apex, and he was using a farrier's hammer, or, like a turning hammer, something like that. What he was doing is, essentially it made sense. He was coming down, and even though he was using the farrier's hammer, he was using the flat dies there, or the turning hammer, and he was just kind of progressively moving the material, compressing the inside edge and stretching the outside in a very methodical, or however you want to say it. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. Anyways, the point is, he had a method that he was using. Sorry, bad at English language, I guess, but it just worked. And so I applied this with a skill that I've picked up from other smiths, which is using the rawhide mallet on the work, and I've combined the two. And as you can see, I didn't sweat. This is like literally my second or third heat at doing this, and you can see how much bend I got there already. So anyways, something to keep in mind. I'll catch you on the next video, and thanks for watching. If you want to like and subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. Trying to put out at least three new videos a week. Once I start getting busier here this summer, it'll probably go down to maybe 1 or 2 videos this week. I'm trying to stay dedicated though, and keep it at 3 videos a week, even however small they may be. But anyways, hope this method will work for you, and it'll bring you guys some enjoyment out there. So happy smithing, God bless.